And as I mentioned earlier, before we even dive into exploring all of the AI apps that exist out there, I think there's two critical, fundamental, kind of like basic things you need to remember when it comes to choosing AI apps and actually using them. Because one of the things that you probably even didn't realize is actually most of them just run on 2 or 3 engines, and sort of the raw apps and the raw chatbots being ChatGPT, the most popular and the most used one, currently, and everyone, has probably heard about them. And then Bard, Google Bard, right? And also, for example, something like Claude. So the interesting thing is, even though you have, 100, 200, 300, AI apps that out there, it actually, in most cases, runs on, 3, 4, 5 engines maximum. So here's the interesting thing, when you actually sort of explore all of the other AI apps, double check, what is the engine they're actually using. And also the practical tip really is, if you're already paying for something like ChatGPT, and then, you find another app and it runs on ChatGPT, essentially you're having access to the same thing. So if you use an external app, the only difference you're actually getting is that they have a different design, they have a different, sort of experience of using it. But at the end of the day, the engine that external AI app is using is exactly the same thing that you have already subscribed for, meaning, the raw version of ChatGPT. That's something you need to remember, because I think so many people think that they're getting access to so many different things with all of these AI apps. And yeah, like if you're paying already for ChatGPT, unless, you find, that external AI apps design and experience more useful and easier, what's the reason? So that's one of the things you need to really remember. And the second thing I wanted to mention in this video, to keep it very practical, is when it comes to the difference between all of the, original sort of raw chatbots, be it ChatGPT, be it Google Bard, be it Claude, the main difference, because I don't want to go into like very detailed nuances, is actually a thing called context memory. And this is probably the main thing you need to remember, because one thing that people really forget about AI models is that they have a certain capacity of sort of memory. So imagine if me, like a person, if I could only remember 1,000 words, and after, I reached that limit of 1,000 words, I would forget everything. It's very, very similar in the AI space. The overall direction, of course, is that, the memory is expanding, meaning that in a year, in 2 years, AI models will be able to remember way more than they can remember now. But for example, with something like GPT-4, right, the most advanced model within ChatGPT, the model could roughly, once again, roughly remember a PDF file of 50 pages. So once you go above that, it would forget those things. But then, for example, something like Claude, it could remember way, way more, because it has a larger context memory window. And then with Bard as well, it has, a smaller context memory window than Claude. So these are the two things you kind of need to remember when you're using any of the AI apps or chatbots. First of all, most of the external, as I said, AI apps run on 3, 4, 5 engines maximum. So that's something you need to consider. And also, if you're using some of the AI apps, to remember and kind of like to store some of your data, and you have, I don't know, so many files, so many data that you're storing, be cautious of the context memory window, because I've seen this many times, that people keep adding files to, let's say, ChatGPT, to GPT 3.5, and then suddenly the bot forgets everything. And I know it might be complex to understand now, but this is, sort of a very basic video that I wanted to record. So even maybe when you finish this module, you go back to this video to kind of like try and understand better what I'm trying to communicate to you guys. So that's it sort of for theory. I'll keep it relatively simple for now. And now let's go to the next video and dive into some of the AI apps that you could be doing and you could be using on a daily basis. See you in the next video.